Sir. What the flying hell? What the hell? Boom shakalaka, what's up homies? My name's D-Nice. Alright. This game is called Dies Irae Amantes Amentes or something. What if I said that one's entire life had been decided by fate? That every single one of your actions from the minute to the monumental stem, not from your own choices, but had already been decided upon. That life being a journey of limitless possibilities was but an illusion, and no matter how fiercely a man struggled, oh my god. The wealthy shall know their riches, the needy shall starve on the streets, the wicked shall be wicked, the righteous just. The beautiful, the hideous, the strong, the frail, the fortunate, the miserable, and finally the victors and the defeated. Well, that would kind of suck. And if I said that all such things have been carved into stone eons ago, allowing no divergence. Now playing this is like the complete opposite of, well, actually, I don't know. Steins Gate can be kind of like this as well. What if I said that not a single action is carried out of one's own volition and had been decided long ago? That we are merely adrift in the current of time. Yo, that would be wild. Would you feel content with such a world? I don't know. A world in which power is merely given, not earned. Would you accept knees bent to a throne? A universe where the sinless have-nots are oppressed and downtrodden. Would you allow such a world to exist? Never, I say, never. Alright, those in possession of such knowledge who can still laugh would joyfully oblivious of what it means. Yo, this is actually jumping by real quick. Nothing dampens the spirit like the stale wine of an unearned victory. Nothing is more unbearable than bitter defeat in the chains of something. Should ceaselessly repeating this farce, this slander of the highest order, be the fate of mankind. I shall walk this road to its utmost conclusion, and at the distant place I shall call a finale, or something like that. You, the oppressed, the downtrodden, the massacred, you who were as betrothed. You were born to be defeated and to be massacred till the end of times. If 100 battles yield no victory, fight 1,000. If 1,000 battles yield no victory, fight 10,000. So you're gonna fight against your fate, essentially? Vow to struggle for an eternity ceaselessly, till the light of victory finally shines upon you. Any that has the strength to do this shall be permitted to become a means to that end, a part of the sorcery. All in order to claim eternal victory. The mane of the beast, each and every strand of it shall be from your flesh and blood. You are blessed to be as such. Although I, you, and he as well are still bound by that miserable cycle at this moment. Let us believe that the decision we are about to make truly holds a meaning. That one day we can break free from this perpetually repeating cycle. And we on fire now. My dear ladies and gentlemen, defeated souls of the present age, I await your answer. Who is this? Who are you? Will you rise to battle? I just thought of something. Why am I reading something he's already saying? Alright, we find ourselves May 1st, 1945, Berlin, Germany. This is a long time ago. We in 2017, man. Alright. That was a very interesting start to the game. What's going on here? Wait. Oh, here we go. The closing act of the Second World War was the wait. Oh my gosh. Jeez. Man, I was saying it right and then I thought I was saying it wrong. And then I messed up the third time. That was just a fail. Was the manifestation of total war, such as had never been seen before. No, the term carnage would have been more appropriate. Outmanned in every way, Berlin stood in complete isolation, slipping towards the crevice of annihilation. The nearly 500,000 troops marching under the banner of the Red Army had already surrounded the capital, making escape virtually impossible. Guns roared, mingling with the screams of the dying in an incessant, cacophony of terror? I've never heard that word before in my life. Of terror as the city was razed and its people massacred. Bloodshed, carnage, all in order to eradicate the enemies of this world, be they young or old, man or woman. Justice, revenge, love, peace, oppression, liberty, equality, the slogan, one, chose to attach to the horror, made little difference. The chaos engulfing the bloody streets demonstrated quite readily the atrocities that would manifest when man was presented with the convenient higher cause to justify them with. Yo, man, this game is gonna put my vocabulary to the test, man. They're using the craziest words right now. Yes, for example, whoa, what is going on? In this corner of the city, a blinding light flashed, followed by a roaring explosion. This latest bombardment sent even more soldiers, at least 3, whose silhouettes were still recognizably human, to their deaths, spreading their remains across the pavement. All right. Bastards! Letting out a loud curse, a man leapt out of the trenches with Panzerfaust in hand. Protected by the covering fire of his allies, Schmeisers, he dashed over into effective firing range. He rose to his knees. He took aim and pulled the trigger, firing a heat warhead. The projectile shot forward, smashing right into the flank of a tank. Yo, I'm gonna need a lot of water after reading this, man. I need to get this prepared. Its armor dissolved in accordance with the Newman effect, and the tank imploded in a torrent of liquefied metal and 1,000-degree flames. The man tossed aside his Panzerfaust and, backed by comrades from behind, started cleaning up his remaining foes with his Mauser. Such was war. It allowed no time for idle thoughts, only slaughter, murder, and bloodshed. No man could keep his sanity in this hell. And so the perpetrators of this chaos howled and raged, never looking back, reveling in boundless insanity to keep their blood afire. Within this flaming wasteland of gunplay, soldiers single-mindedly continued their murderous dance as if it was some ungodly ritual. Of course, in reality, it was all but child's play. Soldiers against soldiers, rifles against pistols. No matter how fiercely they fought on this battlefield, the outcome of this war was already set in stone. The third, I don't know what that is, Reich, had crumbled, the ambitions of its visionary leader lost in the flames of war. What remained on that tattered battlefield was the shaken remains of the defeated and the mob of the victors, the flocking like vultures to the smell of the decaying flesh, certain death, inescapable defeat. Any attempt to retaliate was merely a self-serving act of revenge with no hope of salvation. The situation had surpassed anything that might elicit notions of despair, transforming into no more than an absurd comedy of sorts. And yet, yo, this is real right now. This is the battlefield. His heart beat still. His hand gripped steel. He would not stop as long as there were enemies to kill. I'm having way too much fun reading this right now for whatever reason. For it was his sworn duty. If there existed even one thing, anything at all to justify this hellfire, be it sheer insanity, then that by itself would have been a blessing in disguise. Honor and glory debased and disgraced, worth less than pig shit. And yet human life remained the cheapest currency. That was reality. Finally, I get to take a break from reading. Hold on, let me get some water real quick. Oh my goodness. Okay, so X is the loading. Oh, there's menus in here. That's nice to know. Does my mouse work? There. Wait. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. All right, so we got the usual visual novel stuff in here. Text settings, sound settings, voice settings. Yo, how many characters? Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. No, it's 26. Others. All right. Everything is good then. All right. After wiping out all leftover foes and regrouping with his comrades, it dawned upon the man that there were only 3 of them left standing, himself included. The company tasked with protecting this block and had been completely annihilated. The situation was anything but promising, but still more enemies were on their way. This is this is gonna be good. Panzerfaust? Is that how you pronounce it? Okay. Is a Panzerfaust some kind of like explosive round? Because I remember he said I think he shot it into the tank. The young man flashed a bitter smile as he handed over his Schmeiser to the other. The older man glared at him, but offered no more in the way of reproach. Yo, it'd be nice if I had like some characters in front of the screen that I could, but I think, maybe these characters don't, maybe they're gonna, well, if they have pictures of them in the configuration, I'm sure they're gonna show them at some point. The war is lost, indeed. That was the bitter truth of it. Berlin had fallen, the company massacred, and the remaining 3 soon to join them. What is your name, soldier? I don't want to hear this crap from you. Joachim Browner? Yo, Mr. Braun. Walter Garowitz? The Master Sergeant Walter Garowitz directed his gaze at the final survivor of the company, a young boy who had thus far remained silent. What is your name, soldier? Is that a girl? Wait, a boy? The boy eyes darted as he failed to hide his shock, was even younger than Joachim or whatever, barely in his teens. If Walter had a son, he might have been around the same age. Marco Schmidt. Walter was about to ask what a mere child was doing there, but ultimately swallowed his words. It was a foolish question. The enemy would show no mercy to them, not even to children. The reason for it was very clear. They were the bitter enemies of the Red Army, the despised members of the... yeah, no. Even if they were to surrender, the Soviets were doubtlessly uninterested in taking them as prisoners. Okay, so we got Soviets in this war here, apparently. So, as such, fighting until their last breath was the only option left to them. Walter was certain that Joachim was ready to give his life for the fatherland. The boy, on the other hand, for whatever reason, I'm getting like the craziest urge to want to play 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. Yes, I was like, yo, I wanted to say it in the right order. I think I said it in the right order. Wait a second. Is this like World War II and we're Germany? Is that what I'm understanding right now? Is that what's going on? It's really interesting having Japanese Germans, but whatever. For the sake of the story, this we're gonna roll with this for the sake of the story. Joachim shed his disaffected act, the bitter tone in his voice making his true position on the situation clear. I feel like the voices are too low. And they're even not. Interesting. Turn it up a little bit, I guess. See what happens. Alright. There we go. He would never surrender, yet even if he gave his life in the battle to come, the outcome of the war had already been decided. Nothing could change that, least of all him. Maybe it's because I actually have my computer volume low. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Nothing could change that, least of all himself. With this defeat, their fatherland and their descendants would... A single soldier was powerless to alter the great current of a war. Joachim tried to express his dissatisfaction with that reality as best he could while Marco silently listened. Wait! Oh! Oh No, several rifle shots echoed from their left just then. Walter and Mako just barely managed to duck into cover, but Yoshim was not so fortunate. His head was shot clean off by the first wave, followed by an entire volley of bullets being unloaded into his chest. Pelted by machine gun fire, Yoshim's body contorted in a queer manner, almost reminiscent of some form of dance before finally hitting the ground. That's disgusting. That is utterly disgusting. The anticlimactic finale, indeed, for the youth who had only moments prior expressed his desire to fight to the bitter end. But such was the reality of the situation, the reality of war. There were no heroes here, no messiahs or miracles to save them, only men dying like insects. And should one allow his soul to be overcome by wrath or despair, when confronted with this knowledge, it would serve only to invite the jaws of death to consume him next. The chaos of war would not tolerate idle thought. Knowledge of one's duty was all that was necessary. As Walter rolled into the safety of a ruined building, he shouted the name of his lone surviving comrade with all the strength he could muster. But instead of words, "Yo, what?" the sole reply he received was yet another flash, followed by a fiery explosion. What a start to the game, dude! The upper half of the young boy's body was flung at Walter's feet! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Wow! The cramped alleyway was heavy with the stench of blood and scorched entrails. Walter powerlessly dropped to his knees into the vast sea of blood. Yo, this music is so loud. Like, I don't understand what it... Alright. Marco smiled even as the last embers of his life faded away. It was unbelievable. Someone could still form words in a state like as this. Walter took the boy's hand. Well, maybe the voices aren't that loud for this part of the game because they figure it's not that important or something. Maybe the characters later in the game will have louder voices or something. As the gunfire continued, a brand new tank rolled into the battlefield. Marco Smith was beyond help. Not even God could save him now. That is very accurate. And so Walter's rightful place now was on the battlefield, his hand clutching a gun and not the hand of a dying soldier. His ears lent not to the naive parting remarks of a boy, but straining to hear the breathing of his enemy. He knew that better than anyone, and yet... this beginning of the game is absolutely brutal. Yoshim, Walter, and so many other German soldiers just like them had done nothing more than take up arms to protect their fatherland and loved ones. Was that truly a sin? Surrounded by the flames of the dying capital, the young boy spoke in mere disjointed fragments, voicing a question Walter himself would have loved to pose to the heavens above, most likely. Yet after mere seconds of doubt, Walter answered curtly. Such was the way of the world, a cruel, bitter truth. Walter found within himself a growing resentment for the Lord. Let's win our next one. Well, that's hopeful thinking. Marco Schmidt then quietly passed away in Walter's arms. The man gazing up at the heavens, the young soldier's smile in death, albeit tainted with blood and mud, still held traces of boyhood. A bitter smile mirroring Marco's crept onto Walter's face. Now that's a loud voice. Here we go. Now somebody's actually speaking at a audible I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh well. His words might have seemed the ramblings of a lunatic beset by the armies of death, but they were more than that. Walter cocked his smizer, confirmed it was loaded, then charged out of the ruined building into the open. An audible level is what I meant to say. Siegel? He unconsciously let out a battle cry loud enough that it threatened to rend his throat. Would he end up gunned down like Joachim, or share the same fate as Marco? Is it Joachim or... well, he's dead anyway, who cares? Wow, that's kind of messed up actually. He died a very, very messed up death. Rest in peace. I'm gonna call him Joa. Or Yoa, I don't even know, whatever. Rest in peace, bro. Rest in peace. It hardly mattered anymore. Either way, he'd merely die a miserable death befitting this miserable war. His mind was occupied by such despair thoughts, and no way could he have predicted what was to come next. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Grant them eternal rest, O Lord, and may everlasting light shine upon them. All right. It was his soldier's intuition that drove Walter to reflexively take shelter. What the flying hell? His vision was drowned out by a blinding white light in an explosion so fierce it dwarfed all previous bombardments. An explosion that seemed to rip apart the very heavens. Walter realized that this explosion was far beyond the level of any weapon that could have possibly been employed in urban warfare. What in the world had happened? Devastation, I guess. Question, can you screenshot this game? doesn't look like it. Backlog, config, title, skip, voice. What does voice do? The city he had literally staked his life to protect had been reduced to a charred wasteland. Although it took quite a while for Walter to regain his sight and hearing, there was still not enough time for him to make sense of the situation. Part of him wondered if it was all a sick joke. Only one thing was clear: both his allies' corpses and the encroaching enemy troops had been annihilated. No bombing raid could have inflicted such immense damage. And although Walter had managed to survive the attack itself, his resulting wounds were deep. Now this man is injured. Pieces of steel and concrete blasted in his direction by the explosion had pierced his back and flank. The hand that once held this miser was blown off from the elbow! Oh, that's disgusting! It wasn't even worth the effort to attempt to discern the number of more minor injuries. Oh my gosh. My friend would hate this game. He would have quit playing it already, to be honest. He hates bloody stuff, but I guess, I don't know if it's visually he hates bloody stuff or it's the, I don't know. I think it's the visual, and I think the description of it will set him off, I think. His incessant bloody vomit told him that he had also suffered severe internal damage. He would not make it. Walter swore blindly, no longer certain of the target of his indignation. Just then, the voice from before rang out again. Indignation! Hear my prayer, O Lord. To you all flesh shall come. Return unto thy rest, O my soul. For the Lord hath dealt bountifully with thee. It was a requiem offered up to fallen soldiers, one sung in a beautiful voice. I don't even know if that's readable. Like, it's so tiny. Like, why couldn't they make the text bigger for that? Not even a prestigious church choir could produce a melody quite this dignified. Yet at the same time, the scorn seeping into the voice was all too evident. Only upon the eye of the apocalypse itself could such a voice be conceived of as an angel's. It sung of the dead with scorn, ridicule, and mockery, deriving the utmost pleasure in trampling upon every last remnant of the dignity they possessed. The voice of a destroyer intoxicated by mayhem. This was a product of a black mind possessed solely by an inhumane malice. Yo, the text is so tiny. Grant them eternal rest, O Lord, and may everlasting light shine upon them. And so, stepping onto the vast expanse of debris, the destroyer appeared, that demonic requiem at his lips. What the hell? It was a young boy, lacking in years even in comparison to Marco, with a face so delicate that a careless glance could easily make his features for those of a girl. Oh, wait. Maybe if I go to help... Well, no. This is version info. It doesn't really... Oh, I forgot. Ooh, stop that. It doesn't really give me any indication for buttons or anything for screenshots. If anybody knows like a screenshot button, wait, actually, what am I talking about? I'm playing on Steam, right? What is the screenshot button on Steam? F12. Okay, there we go. Got it, boys. We got it. I don't want the backlog. So, there we go. And I keep pressing the wrong button. A single look at the boy was enough to give Walter chills. His teeth began to chatter. And I keep pressing spacebar. Whoa. This is a crazy looking man. And he killed everybody. What the heck, is this guy a god? Although he had lost a considerable amount of blood and his vision had grown hazy, the reason behind the freezing chill at his back lay elsewhere. The sheer enmity and bane radiating from the boy's visage indeed contributed to that. But to Walter, the most dreadful thing was the fact that he knew that face. There lived no man who'd fought on the Eastern Front who knew not of this boy. A beast possessed by an insatiable hunger, his aberrant mind ruled by inhuman madness, his single eye gleamed, silver locks swaying. He gripped a pair of guns, each engraved with a wolf's angel, the rune of the wolf. There was no doubt it was the face. It was a face Walter could never forget. The face of a boy who had supposedly died 3 years ago. Major Schreiber? Eastern Front Assault Corps Special Unit Leader SS Major Wolfgang Schreiber. That is a mouthful. An unchained beast that slaughtered both friend and foe, the Ashen Demon that had supposedly met his end during a purge. How could he be standing here? What the hell? Hardly the words one would offer a dying comrade, especially one whose death was most likely caused by Schreiber himself. The boy flashing an innocently devilish smile in front of Walter had no doubt the very same person he remembered. And yet, his armband bore not the swastika, but a different symbol altogether. Almost as if he were no comrade at all. What are you and who are you? War is our profession. Murder is our currency. Yo, that sounds like a beast-ass quote, but it's so sad at the same time. The boy playfully surveyed the landscape. It was proof enough of his statement, and what followed was nothing short of unnatural. Something akin to opaque vapor erupted in their vicinity, like a fog or a haze, and I just noticed. Oh my gosh, that's creepy as all hell. Those are freaking spirits coming out of the ground? At the same time, Walter's senses were assaulted by a dreadful moaning. These were the cursed cries of the fallen, fated to suffer and lament until the very end of time. This endless chorus of lamentation caused even the seething air of the battlefield to cool. These were the spirits of the dead. Walter felt like he could almost make out the faces of Marco and Joachim among the swirling mass, as well as the destination towards which they were spiraling. Straight into Schreiber's token cop eye patch? He was devouring the very souls of those he had slain. Confronted with such a repulsive, unworldly spectacle, Walter could not determine whether he should give himself over to rage or simply weep. He longed for a repose of insanity. Oh, oops, what am I doing? Schreiber, seemingly done with his meal, warily turned his neck to Walter. He was breathing his last, not in any condition to spill blood like a soldier should.
今さら連中の100や1000を殺したところで何も変わりやしないけどね。でもだからって何もせずに黙ってる必要なんかどこにもない。見なよこのベルリンを。全くひどいありさまじゃないか。こんなものが僕らの求めた千年帝国の終わりだなんて誰が納得するって言うんだよ。
Content? Walter threw a piercing glare at the smiling boy. Indeed, no one in their right mind would be content with such an outcome. He'd had friends to call his own, a family to go home to, a woman to love. He cherished this country. All that became tainted due to Germany's defeat, dishonor that no centuries could wash clean. That was...
許せないよね。薄汚い劣等ごときが我が物顔で帝都を蹂躙するなんて。女や子供や年寄りを犯して殺して吊るすなんてさ。総長、忠勇なるドイツ軍人バルター・ゲルリッツ総長殿、君の気持ちを聞かせてくれ。君は一体どうしたい？
The amount of blood leaking forth from Walter's mouth made speech difficult, but his feelings were set. Joachim, who vowed to fight till the bitter end, Marco, who wished for victory, their feelings as well as his own. The boy standing before him was unmistakably from the fold of the devil, but such things mattered little at that point. What he wanted was victory, honor, and glory for the fatherland, to bring peace for friends and family that had fallen, to bring prosperity for generations yet unborn, and above all else, for his own very own soul. Sieg Heil.
素晴らしいよその息だ。君のような勇者にこそあの方の血肉となる資格がある。戦争は終わらない。僕たちが終わらせない。何度でも続けて。
Grant us victory.
共に行こうじゃないか。無限に続く戦場へ。
Alright, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to turn it a little bit further down. Alright. We shall claim victory in the next war, if not in the one after that. Hundreds and thousands and millions of battles repeated over and over again until this outcome can finally be toppled. Schreiber thrust his Mauser in Walter's direction in the last light of the man's soul, as the last light of the man's soul began to fade. Grant them eternal rest, O Lord, and may everlasting light shine upon them. His requiem was one of scorn for the fallen, pregnant with malicious intent. And yet Walter thought it beautiful, like the song of an angel. It was then that he finally realized that this was the apocalypse, and that he would soon join the ranks of those marching to destroy the world. He would become a strand of the beast's mane, one of many in his legion. Alright, dude. The boy gazed to the heavens and offered up a splitting cackle, his silver hair dancing. The soul of Walter Geduitz was sucked into the boy's blood-crazed eye and vanished. At the same time, in another place, a new nightmare was unfolding. The hell? An entire battalion of at least a dozen tanks had failed to bring down a single man. No, an entire battalion of tanks was being destroyed by a single man. In the center of the supernatural maelstrom stood a somber specimen of a man, darker than the blackest of nights. Beneath his neatly worn uniform stretched a body of steel trained to the utmost limit. A perfect fusion of the sort of artistry found in the great sculptures of antiquity and raw martial prowess. The man wielded nothing, not even a short blade. He fought with his fists alone. But they were all he needed to sunder the armor of a tank as if it were nothing more than scrap paper. Needless to say, no mere man could hope to imitate this display. Indeed, he was a monster. Or if not, a weapon taking human form. A fortress upon the battlefield. Either way, the Soviet forces were dealing with an inhumane soldier. A being exceeding human boundaries. Furthermore, the towering beast of a man had yet to so much as attempt to evade any of the artillery fire being leveled upon him. So not only is he indestructible, he just destroys anything with his bare hands? What the hell is this guy? What are these people? They have to be gods or something. I'm so like... Even after being pelted by countless bullets and tank shells, his body remained unscathed. However, this was only natural. For everyone knew this man, this strength, and his name. Knew that he was a hero who had died a year before. So there's a bunch of freaking dead people walking around becoming freaking gods. What the heck is this? And what was dead could not be killed. The man let out a deep breath. His overflowing will melted the surrounding rubble into toxic waste, blasting it afar with a gust of burning wind. His tightened muscles expanded to their extremes as if longing for release. A hammer of steel. There existed nothing in this universe that could withstand the blow he was preparing to unleash. The energies gathered in his fists gave birth to refraction, causing the very visage of the man to distort. But as the man finished swelling up with energy and was about to unleash destruction, bruh, his fierce concentration suddenly let up just as it was about to reach critical mass, as if something had ruined his mood. Perhaps he thought the panicking soldiers, having lost their morale, were not even worth killing. Then, had those soldiers miraculously escaped the jaws of death? Of course not. What in this world could surpass the thrill of the hunt? The song of the cruel huntress echoed across the night. Oh, whoa! A scorching wave of pure flame passed by the man, devouring the soldiers, burning them to cinders. This was clearly no ordinary weapon. Its destructive force far exceeded the powers of Molotov cocktails or tank fire. It was more akin to a pulse of concentrated energy from a nuclear blast, as impossible as that seemed, than any urban weapon. Otherworldly screams of pure agony reverberated throughout the war-torn battlefield, now engulfed by a sea of flames. The soldiers, assailed by the instantaneous burst of fire, had evaporated without trace, but the hate-filled screams of their souls rang out into the night. Jeez, man. This is a lot of reading. Oh my gosh. This was the same phenomenon that Schreiber had conjured up just a moment earlier. It was uncertain for how long the woman had been standing back to back with the somber man. Her tone was grim and bereft of joy, her visage deep crimson. So I guess the visage is like their aura, basically. But like, damn, dude, all these people died. They were all German soldiers, and now they're gods, or whatever they are. Wait a second. Is that a glove on her hand? Like, is that alchemy? Her tone was... Oh, okay, I read that already. Her swaying hair, the color of fresh blood and hellfire. Oops. She would possess a certain calculating... Whoa, 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 whoa. Hero? Alright, where's the backlog? I don't know the hotkey for that. She would possess a certain calculating beauty were it not for the gruesome burn marks covering the left half of her face. As such, her visage cloaked only a grim auburn born from a marriage of the fair and the repugnant. Is it F11? Is backlog? I don't know. Oh, well, that's save. It'd be nice if they actually told you what the buttons were. Do you have something that... Yeah, I read this already. Gracefully letting forth a puff of cigar smoke, the woman posed a question to the man at her back. No answer came.
故に殺しすぎるのも殺さなさすぎるのも等しく罪だということを自覚しているなら何も言わん。それとも貴様、一度タガが外れれば皆殺しにしてしまいかねないから抑えている。であるなら私も同じ心境だ。
It would be nice to have a way to know when they're actually done speaking. No one could be blamed for mistaking the Crimson Woman's words for those of a lunatic. No sane person would speak as if they were capable of destroying the entire Red Army surrounding Berlin on a whim.
宣告、相当閣下が行かれた。
I like how I said, are they alchemists? And then, like, two sentences, like, not sentences, but, like, two chat boxes later, they're like, His Excellency the Führer has passed.
武装家の長官殿、こううるさい宣伝やもいずれ後を追うだろう。そして大量の市民と同胞を道連れに、この程度を陥落する。犠牲としては、性質創造を試みるのになるほど適当な触媒だろう。敵を幾百万捧げたところで守るべき民、愛すべき民、彼ら10人の方が命は重い。それが人間というもの。ザミエ。
Samuel? The man finally spoke and his voice is deep as all hell. Mercurius?
何？貴様、あれに何か用があると。
Silence again, the man failed to answer. The woman narrowed her eyes, her gaze heavy with suspicion, before letting loose an exasperated sigh.
まあただんまり。寡黙すぎる男というのも考えものだな。まさかあれと戦おうなどと考えているわけでもない。そして仮にそうだとしたらくだらんよ。バカバカしいからやめておけと言って。あれは絶対に殺せ。もしかしたらある意味で楽にひねれるのかもしれない。いずれにせよ、あれは我々の上官であり、狩猟殿の盟友だ。貴様が範囲を持つというのなら、はっきり言って捨ておけない。
俺にそんなつもりはない。
だろう。貴様の硬すぎる頭の中に。
You could never hatch a plan in that thick skull of yours!
故に私はさっきの質問に答えている。
She lifted her head to look up at the sky.
我らが黒煙卓の指導者お二人は兄弟のごとく仲が良い。であれば必然あれのいる場所は決定している。見るがいい。
Obsidian round table? Meanwhile, up in the Berlin sky, tainted by blood and fire, taking form through the carnage of the capital, was a tremendous swastika. A man stood atop the towering spire in its center. Her booming voice echoed in the ears of all living men in the city of Berlin as if through some sort of sorcery. At that very moment, all soldiers ceased their fighting, all children dried their tears, and all elders stopped their flight. Each and every soul in the city gazed up to the sky as if possessed. Its deep canopy was tainted by the blood and fire of the city below, boiling as if it were some sort of cauldron. The Berlin Himmel. On the very day the 1,000-year Reich crumbled to dust. A devil of blinding light descended from the heavens. What the hell is going on? Who the hell is this? What? His locks like a floating mane, golden in color, his regal gaze equally golden. It was the gold of splendor, of brilliance surpassing creation itself, beauty mingling with heavy solemnity. Yet at the same time, beastly in hue. Hui. A being that should not exist in the realm of man, the harbinger of beguiling light. At his side, a man with features vague and twisting as the darkest of shadows. He was garbed in the plain robes of a hermit, with ambiguous features that made it impossible to discern his age. A yin to his yang, the two of them existed on a level far removed from that of any being gazed up at them. They were the monsters whom even the monsters feared. Number 1 and 13 of the Longinus Drazen Orden's Obsidian Round Table. Its leader and vice commander. Obsidian Round Table. Gazing down at Berlin, no, the entire world, the man of gold began his speech. Are we reliving the intro already? The man's grim words reached every soul residing in Berlin. Nothing awaits you but eternal suffering, eternal defeat. The people of Berlin could not deny his claims. The Golden Beast proclamation rang out with the urgency of the trumpet of the final judgment. This was a man possessed of a supernatural charisma, utilizing extreme conditions in order to manipulate the will of others. Was hardly a novel trick in and of itself, but the sheer scale of the man's performance here warranted deeper scrutiny. His voice possessed a magical quality capable of penetrating the very heart of all those who heard it. The best comparison was to the cries of dragon from the Age of Legends, a juggernaut of a voice that would not fail to ensnare any mortal, and the being that possessed it was certainly no mortal. The Golden Beast, the Black Prince, the harbinger of beguiling light, the monarch of destruction. Every word that passed forth from his lips was saturated in magic. He gave the command. If you wish to overcome your miserable lot in life, then offer your very soul. If you long to wash away the stigma of the defeated, take the pen and sign a pact with blood. It was the temptation of the devil himself. The golden monarch looked down upon the lesser beings crawling upon the earth and posed a question to them. The answer was all too evident. Grant us victory. Grant us victory. Seghairu Victoria. A deep fissure ran across the man's perfectly beautiful face to conjure the words of Dr. Faust. His features portrayed the uncanny equilibrium of a genuine smile and a grotesque sneer. Yo, they are really whipping out the vocabulary words in this game. As I say that, the next word, what is this? Mephistopheles? Mephistopheles? The hard bringer of beguiling light. Mephistopheles. The name of the wicked fiend that could grant man's every wish in exchange for his living soul. Enlist in my legion. Wow. The moment those ponderous words left his lips, the unthinkable happened. All men with guns in hand took them to their mouths. All those wielding blades thrust them deep into their own chests. They all killed themselves? Those without armaments plunged themselves into the hellfire still raging around them? Guns roared. Steel drank blood. Men plunged to their death. Suicide unfolded on every street corner. This is actually ridiculous. And if I want to whip out the freaking vocabulary words, unfathomable. Hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands rushed to their deaths with abnormal haste, their souls being absorbed into the golden monarch. It was an insatiable holocaust engulfing the entire capital. This could not have been the first time. He had consumed countless souls in the past. Was this then the final ritual necessary to complete his task? A grand sacrificial altar stained by the blood of soldiers and countrymen who had looked up to him as a savior, begging for salvation. In all its grimness, all its cruelty, all its terror, it was... What?
まさに悲劇。あなたを慕い、あなたが守るべき者たちがあなたのせいで死んでゆく。あなたはそれを嘆き、喜び、自らの力へと変えるだろう。
Jubilance? Imbibing of their essence in order that you may... Dude, these... Yo, this vocabulary is literally ridiculous.
この滑稽な人生でただ一人畏敬の念を抱いた獣ども。あなたはこれから何をなす？
The shade of a man who remained silent until now finally spoke.
何を求める？
愚問だな。法則の破壊と超越。私に道を示したのは K だろう。もっとも他に個人的興味がないでもないの。
それは一体？
One other thing, something I don't like is like where their choice of where to put the chat box. Like I would prefer they just put it on the bottom area down here so that you can actually see the top 2/3 of the screen instead of covering up what is like, I don't know, 80% of the screen with the chat box. Well, not the speech box, whatever you want to call it.
法則を作ったもの。
なるほど。すなわち
God, or perhaps the devil? The Shade chuckled. This man's calling him the Shade. Its lips widened into a smile.
生徒を得て幸せだ。エイビヒ回答を正しく理解しているのはやはり現状あなただけか。
Wait a second. So the guy, wait. Who? They're talking about, he's saying the Shade chuckled. So the golden guy is that the guy on the bottom's pupil?
いや
What?
素晴らしい。この瞬間だけは何度経験しても飽きが来ない。それだけに正直。
行くのか、カール。
Carl?
その名も置いていきましょう。いずれ必ず会えるはず。半世紀もすれば東方のシャンバラが完成する。
Half
そこ
a
に私の代理を
century?
用意するゆえ、下僕たちの遊び相手にでもすればよろしい。
Substitute?
今回の契約であなたの魂は他に比類なき強度を得た。
The
性
Ark?
質創造の思考も果たした以上、怒りの日
Day of
こちら
Wrath.
にとどまる理由はありますまい。
Kristoff.
万全を期すために幾人かあちらに連れて行ってはいかがです？
無論、元よりそのつもりだ。ザミエル、シュライバー、ベル
Should I, but
彼らを共に連れて行こ
結構それは隙のない人選だ。というより、あの3人以外では今のあなたに随伴することなど叶わぬか。
The two men exchanged words in a casual tone, perhaps reminiscent of two chess players contemplating their moves. Even as scenery from hell spread out beneath them, it was apparent why the two of them would have been seen as brothers. They shared a certain air of resigned enlightenment, as if they presided from lofty heights lesser beings could not dream of reaching. No tragedy, no comedy, no creation under the sun would move them. Their laughter was no more sneer, nor their actions merely the results of a frozen heart. Rather, they were worn down by time itself, imbued with the uncanny aura of an ancient sage. Gazing up at the two of them were roughly 10 others in military uniform, standing completely unscathed within the decaying capital of agony that was Berlin. They were the fangs and claws of their golden master, and among them the three mentioned earlier surpassed even the rest. The Crimson Woman had tears of joy trickling down her face in response to the honor of being chosen by her golden commander. Her loyalty grew fiercer than ever. The silver-haired boy responded with sulk, lamenting the temporary end of his carnage. For the moment, however, he vowed to acquiesce. The somber giant stood silent, seemingly oblivious to all but the shade he fixed his gaze upon. Worry not, your wish will be granted soon enough. I would appreciate it if you would not glare at me quite so forcefully. Hey, where's the voice? Did I do something to mess up the voice? The specter of a man grinned, amused by the giant's electrifying gaze before turning his attention to his golden brother once more.
再び我らがまみえる時こそ互いの目的が成就すると祈りましょう。
Truth be told, I'm really curious what happens next, but I also kind of want this scene to end so I can end the video because this is kind of long at this point.
傍観するだけでは何もつかめん。K の悪い癖だな、カール。
確かに。であれば、ここに誓いましょうか。
The Toten Kop Empire that had waged war against the world had finally met its end. Whether it be true or not, It is an oft-repeated anecdote that Nazi German, in possession of some of the world's most advanced technology during this time period, had dabbled in obscene rituals behind the scenes in the pursuit of the secrets of black magic. What became of the demons brought forth by those experiments and all their diabolic relics? Their whereabouts would remain unknown, assuming that they ever truly existed to begin with. All right. Give me some water. Some water. Boom shakalaka, what's up homies? My name's D-Nice and we're back with Dies Irae Amantes Amentes. That is a mouthful to say for sure. But six long decades came and went. We're in a random ass wormhole, okay? 6 decades, huh? Now we are in some more current times where cell phones actually exist. November 29th, 2006, Mount Fuji, Aokigahara, Sea of Trees, 3 o'clock in the morning. The entire area was engulfed by crimson flames. A torrent of sheer energy had emerged from a nearby cave, mowing down trees and setting them ablaze. This place was a crevice in the fabric of space, a meeting point for the ley lines which spread across the earth like a net. A lone man emerged from the cave. He wore a rosary and a cassock, signaling his status as a holy member of the cloth. Indeed, the warm smile playing across his lips was what one would expect from a man of God. Yet, could a man appearing in a place like this in the dead of night, emerging alongside an inferno, truly be a servant of the divine? And kneeling before him in servitude was a young woman with jet black hair. What button is it? Oh gosh, what am I doing? There it is. Her skin color and features clearly identified her as a native of this land. She spoke reverently, her face as expressionless as that of a statue. So she's... Valeria Trifa?
いいえ。レオンハルト、あなたのことは覚えていますよ。キルヒ愛禅教の後を継がれた時はまだほんの子供でしたが、美しく、そして強くなられましたね。
Yo, these names... there's no way I'm remembering Lady Kirshensen or whatever. Unpleasant moaning could be heard echoing throughout the area. They were likely the souls of the men and women that had taken their own lives within this forest. The young woman paid them no heed even as they continued to make their presence known. The priest, in contrast, inhaled them all with affection, making them his own. A blasphemous scene, an affront to all that was just. It was identical to the events of Berlin 61 years prior. Was this perhaps a continuation of what had begun that night? A priest with a voice that sang each word, before him a young woman offering nothing but the humblest of words. They exchanged a few greetings, but nothing of note. Trifles such as how the priest had traveled from the other side of the earth by traversing its ley lines, and how the girl had altered his original path in order to lead him here. What the heck? Oh. Apologies and explanations for her impudent action, as well as the reason why the priest could not possibly journey there at the present time. All those were of secondary importance, unnecessary to discuss here. There was but one thing of value. That one crucial point, and that alone, that they were preparing to finally unveil to the world the supreme performance they had spent so many moons preparing. Now then, may the curtains of Grand... Whoa. Guignol? Yo, they really... There's these names. Slaughter, butcher, massacre until no more is left. Violate, conquer, and consecrate. Yo. I feel like I'm gonna be... I don't even know what, like, somebody who's really good at dictionary words would be called. But I feel like after I'm done with this game, I'm gonna walk away from this game with words that people in real life will never know the meaning of. Let there be victory, let there be conquest, and thus... They would repeat their struggle as many times as necessary. They would continue fighting to the very limits of time itself. They had sworn to do so, and so they were bound to carry out this task. The young woman's recital of the oath of their holy crusade was met by the priest's own blessings. And so, on that night, in that forest, the legion that had vowed to destroy the world began to stir. I mean, on this night, can we have the chat, like the text box actually be on the bottom of the screen? Can we have that happen tonight? Unbeknownst to any,